Hey everyone, it is Sarah, your local New Yorker and licensed tour guide, and today I'm going to be sharing 10 places you absolutely must visit in New York City before you die. I'm telling you, this is your ultimate city bucket list. These 10 spots, if you don't see them and don't go to them at least once in your life, it will negatively impact your trip. And I won't just be talking about these places, I'm also going to be providing insider tips and things you absolutely need to know when visiting, such as when's the best time to visit, what you need to know to be prepared, and what you can't miss when you're there. So let's head to the first one. Central Park, you've seen it in the movies, is actually one of the most featured places in any movie. There's been more movies shot in Central Park than anywhere else, and there's a reason for it. Central Park is absolutely stunning. All 693 acres was completely man-made and designed to look like a picturesque painting from Europe. You have rolling hills, you have waterfalls, you have lakes, you have bridges, you have ice skating rinks, zoos, playgrounds, architecture that's from all over the world. It was meant to be an exploration through the world for those that couldn't travel back in the day. I encourage you to just take a stroll through it, bring some picnic food, and just enjoy it. Best time of year to see Central Park, in my opinion, spring or fall. Why? Spring has the beautiful cherry blossoms. Fall, you get the autumn leaves. I recommend going for like a picnic during lunch, and I would start right on the corner of 59th Street and 5th Avenue and walk your way up the paths to Belvedere Castle, and then you can have a nice picnic right in front of the lake and Belvedere Castle. You're gonna feel like you're in a European fairy tale. New York City has some of the most iconic museums in the world, and you've heard of many of them, but one you probably haven't heard of, and my personal favorite museum in the entire city, is the Museum of Moving Image in Astoria, Queens. It's such a quick train ride from Manhattan, and it's an absolute amazing experience, especially if you are a movie or film lover. Now I have a promo code for you to save 10% off. It's Funky10. And if you are coming on Thursdays, that is their free day from 2 to 6 every day. So that's a little insider tip for you. So one of the things about this floor is it's very immersive. So you get to kind of like see how things were made. This is when they were making the Black Swan movie. So you can see Natalie Portman strangling herself and how they actually did that scene. So we're gonna watch this, and then we're gonna choose what music to put along with this to enhance. So let's choose it. These are our options. Now, like all of a sudden, it's like so intense. Okay, see now it feels like a joke, right? You can do that for a bunch of different clips, and it kind of shows you how much music impacts the movie experience. Sometimes when they make movies, you have to record a voiceover because something didn't come out that clear, and that's what this is for. So let's test it out. Okay, so now I have to re-record Marilyn Monroe's lines. No pressure. Tell me, who runs up that flag? Your wife? Why did we even talk like this in the old movies? Tell me, who runs up that flag? Your wife? So mad. That was hilarious. We've reached the camera section. These are the film cameras throughout the ages. And then these are the TV cameras. Look at how big these TV cameras are. That is huge. It's fascinating to see this stuff up close and personal. Oh, this is like you can make stop animation. The camera's up here, and then you just hit record to make a scene, right? We're gonna make our own flip book, and they can actually print this out for you in the gift shop. That's the most movement I can do at this stage in pregnancy. Oh, hello, and welcome to the Muppet exhibit. I'm gonna show you how you can make your own Muppet here. Come along. Choose your own eyes, your own nose. I'm not gonna ruin this one. They did such a good job, don't you think? Last time I came here, I was in this area probably for like at least 1 hour with my 3-year-old. And that's one of the beautiful things about the Museum of Moving Image. It's great for all ages. So you have your history right upstairs with all the old film equipment. If you're into Jim Henson, every month in their theater, which is absolutely beautiful by the way, they have a different Jim Henson program. There's also different types of speakers. They do different movie screenings, modern movies. old Hollywood movies. They even had Ron Howard come and speak because it's right next to Kaufman Astoria Studios, which is one of the premier filming studios in New York. This is where they film parts of The Sopranos, Orange is the New Black. So there's just such an interesting movie history just in this area. It's incredible. Every time I see this, I'm always like, ah, get me out of here. That's why they close the museum at 8 p.m. on Fridays, because gotta make sure no one has to deal with this.
Grand Central Terminal, an architectural marvel since its 1913 debut, stands as one of New York's most stunning landmarks. This bustling hub sees roughly 750,000 daily visitors, ranking it among the world's largest and most active stations. The main concourse features a stunning ceiling mural of constellations that's 120 feet high and an opal clock said to be worth $10 to $20 million. For the best experience, plan your visit around midday. This timing helps you avoid the morning and evening rush hours when commuters flood the station. To truly appreciate the rich history behind this iconic structure, consider joining my must-see Manhattan walking tour. It's a great way to dive deeper into the fascinating stories and architectural details that make Grand Central Terminal a true New York City treasure.
You need to see a Broadway show when you come here. After all, this is the top thing that people do when visiting New York City, and it is one of the most iconic. The first time I saw a Broadway show, I was blown away by the quality of the singing, the dancing, the acting, the sets, the music. I mean, wow. And the best place to see that is in New York City. I used to work for Broadway, so the shows that I recommend are The Lion King, The Book of Mormon, Wicked. I loved The Great Gatsby, that's a newer one. Moulin Rouge is fantastic. Six is amazing. However, I do encourage you to look at the current offerings and choose a show that really resonates with you. But first, look at the reviews, because some of these shows are just coming out and they may not be that great. So it's always important to read those things before you spend the money on a ticket, because a Broadway show is quite expensive. Speaking of which, there are ways to get Broadway shows for cheap. You can use Broadway Direct. You can use the TKTS booth. That's the famous red stairs in Times Square. Now, these ways, you're not gonna get the really popular shows like The Lion King or Hamilton for discounted tickets, because they just don't offer discounts to those tickets. But one of the ways you can try to get discounted tickets to some more popular shows like that is doing a lottery. So a lottery, you can sign up for these online, and essentially you're saying, I will purchase 2 tickets to this show for $25, and you're entered into a lottery with a bunch of other people, and they choose 2 people or a few people, and you get those tickets. So you don't really know if you're gonna get those tickets, but it's worth the risk because you could get them for a really cheap price. And for that, it's worth it. So don't miss a Broadway show when you're in New York City. The Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island. You gotta go there, you gotta. I don't care who you are. Now, if you're coming to New York, or if you're living here, a lot of New Yorkers haven't been to the Statue of Liberty. Victor, have you been? See, never been, but you're gonna go eventually, right? Yes, he says yes. You gotta go to the Statue of Liberty at least once in your life. It is a symbol of New York. It represents all the immigrants that came here to make this city what it is today. It's so special, and the Ellis Island Museum is fascinating. It's where you can go and see certain ancestors. Mine came over through Ellis Island, and I was able to track that. It was really, really cool. Now, when you're visiting, my recommendation is go in the morning. I recommend booking your tickets at least 1 month in advance, because tickets can get booked pretty fast, especially if you want to go to the crown of the Statue of Liberty. You should book that further in advance, which is such a cool experience just to be all the way up there. There's also a museum on Liberty Island, so you can see a little bit about the history. You can learn why the torch is not the original torch. I'm not going to tell you now, but if you take our must-see downtown tour, you will learn why it's not the original. Check it out, add Statue of Liberty to your bucket list, get your tickets in advance, go in the morning because it will take 4 hours, and you're going to have a great time. You need to see New York City from above. You may have seen it when you flew into town, but there's nothing quite like seeing it from a rooftop bar or an observation deck. There's just no city in the world that has a skyline as beautiful and captivating as, ours. What can I say? What can I say? We're the best. There are 5 observation decks, and I get a lot of questions from visitors saying, which one should I go to? Let's go over all 5. Empire State, One World, The Edge, Summit, and Top of the Rock. What are the positives and negatives? Let's start with Empire State, the one that you probably are thinking of going to, but I don't recommend it, and here's why. As much as the Empire State is a symbol of New York, when you go to that observation deck, you actually are not looking at the Empire State Building, which is kind of part of the skyline. So not seeing that when you're on top kind of like ruins the skyline viewing experience, in my opinion. They do have a cool exhibit, but the others have cool exhibits too, so you're really not missing out. I think the best part about the Empire State Building is that they have a great gift shop. I'm not gonna lie, it's a freaking solid gift shop. I loved it. Summit is one of the top ones I recommend. Why? Because it has the most interactive and immersive experiences inside of it. The floor is covered with mirrors. You get a great view of the Empire State Building and the city from all sides. And you can even go in this cool ball pit that like balls float in the air. There's all different types of add-ons. They have a bar on top. It's such a vibe. I recommend Summit a lot. Number 3, One World Observation Deck. The benefit of this one is it's the highest building in the Western Hemisphere. It's at 1,776 feet tall, representing the year of our independence. And here you're gonna see the furthest view, and they do have some immersive experiences, but overall, I think Summit has much more interesting immersive experiences. Top of the Rock, benefit, it has the most iconic view. This is a picture you're gonna see in postcards. You're gonna see a Central Park, you're gonna see the Empire State Building perfectly framed. They have a new ride called The Beam. It is an add-on ticket where you can do the iconic lunch atop a skyscraper photo, which is pretty cool, but it is an add-on ticket price. They're doing a bunch of renovations in there right now, so they're not gonna have as many exhibits inside, so that's just something to factor in, but in the future they will. And then finally, we have the Edge, which is the highest outdoor observation deck. One World was the highest building in the Western Hemisphere. The Edge is the highest outdoor observation deck in the Western Hemisphere. That's the cool thing about this. You are actually outside and there's a glass floor where you can walk and see all the taxis below you. So that one's pretty cool. So overall, my top choice, I would say, is Summit, followed by Top of the Rock. And that is what I think you should do.
Discover the unexpected urban oasis in Manhattan's West Side, the Highline. This elevated park, rising 30 feet above the streets, meanders along 10th Avenue from Meatpacking District to 34th Street. Now, this was once an industrial railroad, and the Highline has been transformed into a unique green space today. As you stroll its paths, you'll encounter a diverse array of plant species interwoven with preserved railroad tracks, creating a captivating blend of nature and history. And art enthusiasts will appreciate the numerous exhibits displayed along the walkway, making the Highline a haven for both nature and culture lovers. For the best experience, aim to visit before 10 a.m. The park tends to get crowded later in the day, so an early morning walk allows you to enjoy its tranquility and beauty without the bustle of peak hours.
The Brooklyn Bridge, you gotta walk across it at least once in your life. It's a little bit over 1 mile long. And what I recommend is you're gonna start in Brooklyn and you're gonna walk over to Manhattan. That way you're looking at the beautiful Manhattan skyline the whole time you're crossing over it. The Brooklyn Bridge is another iconic symbol of New York City. It was completed in 1883, which means it was made with no technology. Can you imagine that? It's a marvel of construction. It was actually the longest suspension bridge in the world at the time, connected Brooklyn to Manhattan. Now, if you want a little bit more history of that area, the Brooklyn Bridge, and to taste some food, I do have a food tour that you can join, and we do 5 delicious dishes, so you can learn about that. Or you could just walk right over the Brooklyn Bridge. My recommendation when you're doing this though is definitely wear comfortable shoes. It is a little bit over 1 mile, so you're gonna be walking a lot more than you think. I recommend you bring your own water, because if you buy water there, it's gonna be overpriced. And also, just a heads up, it often is very crowded, which is why I recommend going in the morning or the evening when it's less crowded. It seems like most people tend to try to do this in the middle of the day, and that's when you're kind of like shoulder to shoulder with people, and it's just not a very good experience.
Pay your respects to the September 11th tragedy at the 9/11 Memorial. This solemn site in Lower Manhattan was designed by Michael Arid. It features 2 acre-sized waterfall pools in the footprints of the former Twin Towers. These pools, North America's largest man-made waterfalls, are surrounded by bronze panels listing the victims' names. The water cascades 30 feet down, then another 20 feet into a central void, symbolizing absence made visible. When visiting, please be respectful of the site's significance and refrain from taking smiling selfies. One of the many wonderful things about New York is its diversity, and that is what you'll experience when you visit Little Italy, Soho, and Chinatown. The best part? These completely different neighborhoods are right next door to each other, making them easy to walk to. Little Italy offers a taste of Italian culture with its abundance of pasta, pizza, and pastry shops. Cross Canal Street and you'll find yourself in the heart of Chinatown. This bustling area feels like its own mini city, offering authentic Chinese cuisine, shopping, traditional medicine, and decor. And then steps away, Soho presents a stark contrast as New York's fashion epicenter. Known for its excellent shopping, it's not uncommon to stumble upon fashion photo shoots in progress. For more detailed tips on what to do in each of these areas, check out my video guides. I'll link them below to help you make the most of your visit to these fascinating neighborhoods.
And those are 10 places you absolutely must see in New York City before you die. Do not miss these things. And if you're visiting, make sure to check out my other New York City videos because I have tons of them on every topic you could ever imagine. And I will see you next time. Bye.